This video is a continuation of activity 211, tolerate this, using Onshape to create an engineered drawing and representing tolerances on that drawing. In the previous video, we did what exactly was what we had right here is we set up the views and did dimensions for this drawing, and we're going to add some various tolerances to it as well as apply a general tolerance table here in Onshape. What we're going to take a look at is if we want to apply a tolerance specifically to any dimension, I can just double click on a dimension. Here I can always adjust the level of precision. So like here I'm seeing 3 decimal places for that. If we ever want to drop that down to maybe just a 2, which is looking pretty good, that's how we can change that. And then right next to it we have the tolerance. So we're going to apply a symmetrical tolerance, and we're just going to go ahead and add this at a 0.1 for our tolerance. And if I click off of that, you're going to be able to see there's our tolerance. Notice how the tolerance is set out to 3 decimal places. So we can always double click on it again, open it up. I'm going to go ahead and just change that tolerance down, and that way it's just showed just like this. So just again, to show you how to make some of the changes with the tolerances, we're going to repeat those for the overall dimensions. So again, I'm going to change this down just to 2 decimal places. My tolerance is going to be a symmetrical. We're going to go ahead and set it to 2 decimal places, and it's going to be a 0.1 that we'll apply to that measurement. Same thing here with my 3-inch measurement. Just reapplying some of the same things that we have taken a look at. Symmetrical is what we're looking for, and 2 decimal places with 0.1 being what we have there. So all 3 of those will have the same bilateral tolerance, or in this case Onshape calls it a symmetric tolerance for our scenario here. For this particular portion, I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to change my level of precision to 2 decimals, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create a tolerance that has limits. And for the limits, we're actually going to change again the level of tolerance to 2. And on the top, we're going to go ahead and just add about 3/100ths to it. And if I click off, I can see kind of the preview that goes off there. And that's how we can apply limits for our tolerances as well. Some of the other things would be, as I look at, for example, this first whole note. Whole notes can also be applied. Same kind of scenario. I'm going to double left click on the whole note. If I select a portion on here in the tolerance, notice how I have to select override precision and tolerance. And then I can actually select specific sections. So like here, as far as any sort of the tolerance, or here down here at the bottom, you can select the linear dimension. So if I only want 2 decimal places, if I select the next portion, the 2, maybe I only want 2 decimal places being represented there, and the same thing on all the others. So I can always select which portion that I want to be represented in the whole note and what level of precision that I want. So, and that can always be kind of adjusted like that. So that kind of cleans up the drawing a little bit. Again, depends on what kind of level of precision you're wanting to work with. Same thing here on this countersink whole note. If I double left click on it, I'm going to override the precision and tolerance by selecting it. And then now for the 0.5, I'm actually going to go to 2 decimal places, but I'm going to apply this tolerance, which is going to be a symmetrical or bilateral tolerance. I actually want to keep that at 3 decimal places, and we're going to go ahead and make that 0.002 or 2/1000ths to apply to our particular one. While I've got this open, the 1, I can always change the level of precision down to 2 decimal places, and even on the 82 degrees, we're just going to go ahead and change that level of precision down to where it just has 82 degrees with no decimal. Double click off of it. There's our new whole note that's been adjusted for tolerances. We can go ahead and do the same thing here with the 0.5 through. Double click. I can go ahead and select what kind of, again, you might have to override that precision and tolerance. That allows us to make those changes. And then I can go ahead and go to 2 decimal places, and I'm going to add a symmetrical tolerance of 0.002 to that, and double click off. And there's going to add our tolerance. Our last one that we're going to look at, specific tolerance at least, I should say. The last one we're going to look at is this whole note. And the only thing really, maybe everything else I want that looks pretty good, if I just click on Override Precision and Tolerance, select the portion which is the counterbore diameter, we want to go ahead and apply a tolerance of, in this case, a unilateral tolerance, or what they call a deviation. Notice how it creates the stack, and we're going to go ahead and add 0.003 to that, so that way it shows that particular tolerance there. If I double click off of it, there we go. There's our whole note being represented. So any dimensions, if we did have any dimensions that don't have a specific tolerance, we are going to apply a general tolerances table. And the way we do that is we can go up here to the table command. I'll select it. Over here it's going to ask for how many rows. So right now I have 2 rows. Our particular one is going to have 5 rows. And we're going to have 2 columns. And here at the bottom it says select the fixed corner. I'm actually going to choose this last option. So and I'm going to place it right down here, like in the bottom part of my drawing, right there in the corner. And I can go ahead and select the green check mark. It's going to move me down to the table. So I'm going to go ahead and type in this top part general tolerances. And what we might want to do is select center for the formatting, and probably bold. So now if the bold doesn't appear, it's probably because we have to highlight our text. There we go. And I'm going to hit the green check mark to accept it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, hold down, and highlight these 2 cells. Once this shows up, I can do a couple little things here, like there's an option to merge the cells horizontally. That's going to go ahead and merge those 2 cells. So by choosing that option, if I double left click into this bottom portion, right below general tolerances, I'm going to go ahead and add linear dimensions. And over here on this one, I'm going to go ahead and add angles. Both of these, we'll go ahead and bold them if you need to go back and bold. So highlight the text, bold. Highlight the text and bold. Click off. If we need to make some adjustments on the table, I can always adjust the outer one by grabbing the line. There we go. And if I need to adjust any more for like the size, I can always kind of play around with this as well, with the little grip. So as far as this goes, we can kind of take a look at, what kind of, even on this one has a line that we can do. I'm going to double click into this portion. We're going to go ahead and set up a tolerance. X.X is equal to, and we're going to go ahead and grab the symbol command, and we're going to go ahead and choose the plus minus from there. I'm going to hit the space bar and do 0.020, 20 thousandths. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this text, Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac, and Control V or Command V to paste. And I'm actually just going to kind of use this same kind of format, but just kind of go down the line. But I need to add an additional X, and I need to go ahead and change that value. Same thing down here. I can double click and paste. This is going to be a 5 thousandths tolerance anytime that we have 3 decimal places being represented. And then I can also take a look at double clicking underneath the angles. Here I can say angles equal, and then here they usually have a plus minus, and then 0.5, and then we're going to add degrees, which is also appeared in the symbols. It's the very first drop down, and we're going to go ahead and set that in there. So if we need to make some adjustments to the table, we can always readjust, and you can even grab like the lines in between to try to condense down the table a little bit and give us a little bit of room. So, but that right there will give us our general tolerances table and allow us to submit a drawing that if we don't have specific tolerances noted, we can always refer to the general tolerances table. This completes how to add tolerances and make some adjustments in Onshape's drawing environment for any sort of manufactured drawings.